My awakening began with memories of past lives, part 2. I will continue my story about how I remembered my past lives. The first part of the story is called My Awakening Began with Memories of Past Lives, in parenthesis 1. Before my eyes appeared frames from the movie, as if I was in interactive cinema, but there was the only viewer, and it was me. By watching everything that happened, I realized that I also was the main character of the plot. I had seen myself from the outside, and also at the same time had seen and been feeling everything that the hero of the plot sees and feels. Plot number 1. Life number 1. I see a tall man warrior on horseback. His distinguishing features are his eyes, as well as determination and dexterity. But what most is striking is the speed and precision of his movements. His eyes look just like mine, of brown color and Asian look. The terrain is the same as in the territory of modern Central Asia. The area is mostly plain, steppes with little vegetation. I assume that we are in the territory of modern Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and our neighboring countries. The action takes place in a war. The man is wearing armor, in his hand a spear. The warrior is riding a horse by knocking down the enemy on the move. It's very difficult for me to determine which century it is, but I assume that it is 4th, 6th centuries AD. I could be wrong. I'm impressed by everything that happens. I'm analyzing what I see. I understand that speed of movement and sometimes the speed of decision making which I notice in myself is something that I developed in the given past life. The frames seem to disappear in front of my eyes, or maybe it's me who is getting out of the story. I feel like I'm falling into somewhere deep again, just like Alice in Wonderland. On the other hand, I seem to be flying through space, an incredible sensation. It's like I'm somewhere in space, moving from one life to another in a moment. Plot number 2. Life number 2. I find myself in another field, where the military action has already ended. A tall man with blue eyes and shoulder-length blonde hair examines the field. He is also in armor, but without a helmet. The sword is attached to his belt. He assesses the situation at the end of the battle. How many losses, how many survived soldiers, etc. He is good at analysis and strategy. He most likely had the rank of a commander or someone leading. To be honest, in my current life, I'm not that knowledgeable in military ranks. Low hills are area with good vegetation. Reminds me of Europe, England. I think this is the 10th, 12th centuries. Observing the picture, I notice to myself it's not surprising that in this life I was a man too. At school and university, it was easy for me to communicate with boys rather than with girls. Boys sometimes called me a she-boy and were telling me, "You are one of us." I also noticed that the analytical mindset, which is inherent in me in this life, was developed in that life of the commander. I'm living this life and striving somewhere through space until I found myself in another life. Plot number 3. Life number 3. Describing this life is tough for me. Remembering it causes me pain. In the first year, when I had to share it with people close to me, it had been always accompanied by inner pain and an uncontrollable tear over my cheeks. Now, 3-4 years later, I'm cool about that, but still, when it comes to it, I little feel sad about that. In this third life, I find myself on a planet unfamiliar to me, unfamiliar to Belgium. The first thing that got my attention is the color of the atmosphere. The atmosphere over there is not of light blue color as we are used to seeing it. It is dark red or orange brown. The surface of the planet doesn't look like the surface of the earth at all. There was no vegetation. It looked like a steppe. I'm not sure how exactly to describe the kind of material of the surface. It is difficult since I haven't seen anything like that on Earth. But if I will try to describe it in 2-3 words, then most likely it will be a rocky marble ground with cracks. I see a man in a protective suit that looks like an astronaut's or diver's suit. But unlike them, this costume is made of unusual material. It's very durable, bulletproof, and at the same time thin. I would rather say electrically resistant. I will explain this moment later. I'm trying to look at the man's face, but I can't. His face is hidden under a helmet that completely hides his face and covers his head. The helmet is also heavy duty. It also has protective, electrically resistant properties. The action also takes place in the war. The war is going on another planet. I think that the planet is Mars. The man is also a warrior. On the battlefield, he fights with unusual elements. Around him, countless luminous balls attack him from all the sides, with radiation similar to electromagnetic waves. Those balls look like fireballs, but they are white. Released by the balls, lightning bolts are deadly, but the man's suit protects him. Along with this, the warrior has unusual sword in his hands. With this sword, he disarms fireballs. A lot of balls were killed by this sword, but nevertheless, the number of balls is not decreasing. They are arriving and arriving from somewhere. But the warrior does not give up either. He continues to fight. At some point, a huge black spaceship appears from above. Its big door opens from the bottom of the ship, from where electromagnetic waves are directed to the warrior. The range of these waves is very large, such that they can easily defeat the warrior. I feel what the warrior feels. We seem to become one. I will continue from the first phase. I see the ship. I see a deadly weapon aimed at me. I understand that the war will not be equal. If I still could handle the balls, then it simply would not be possible with this monstrous weapon. My safety suit won't save me. Still, I don't want to run away. I'm saying to myself that I will fight to the death for the people I care about. It's done. A huge stream of waves swallows me. If they just shot one of the vital organs, then this organ would stop working. This in turn would cause the failure of the entire body. This kind of death seems to me to be painful, but I think it would not be hellishly painful as it was with the waves. The waves penetrated every cell of my body, causing every cell being exploded. I felt how every cell of my body was dying with unbearable pain. I was not afraid of death itself, but the pain was impossibly painful. While I was going through these memories, my whole body, Belgin's body, was shaking and pounding with pain, as if it was happening to me, to Belgin. Tears were running over my cheeks non-stop. I don't know how long I had been laying down there shuddering, but at some point I understood that the death of the warrior has come. The flames disappeared. The convulsion had stopped, but tears were still flowing. While I was typing those lines, tears again flowed my cheeks. After this remembrance, sometimes at nights when I was sleeping, my body had been shuddering over and over again. This continued for several months. Once my mother witnessed such an incident. She was scared, saying the least. Plot number 4, life number 4. Once again I was carried away somewhere through space and time. I found myself in a spacious room of a high tower-like building. I look out the window. The view from window is amazing. The tower itself is located on the top of a hill, which allows to see and comprehend all the beauty of the surrounding nature. I see that the hills form a circle. There is a lake in the center of the hills. Everything is green around. A lot of trees and living creatures. The sun shines brightly. The place resembles beautiful natural places on earth, but the colors are so much brighter there. Or my vision has become sharper and more receptive. There is a bliss. Everything is so beautiful here. that I understand that it is not our planet Earth. I am a woman in this incarnation. Yes, finally. Now, please allow me to continue this story in the third person, because now my gaze is turned to her. This woman is young. She has soft, kind features. She is beautiful. Her beauty is very harmonious, in a sense ideal, perfect. I would say unearthly. Indeed, she is not an earthly person. She looks out the window and then flies out of there. She flies like she is a weightless. She does not need wings to fly, but she nonetheless straightens her wings and soars in the sky. The wings are large, translucent. The shape of the wings is similar to butterflies' wings. Sometimes she removes her wings, hides them, so they become invisible as if she had no wings. She creates them simply because she liked them. Her mission is to spread harmony and love. I am watching her with admiration. Then I ask those who show me all of this. The person I know, was he also in my past lives? In response, I see a man who also flies without wings, but can also create them. He appears next to the woman, and they fly together for a while. There is an invisible connection between them. He always appears next to her at the critical moments. He also has his own mission, but besides that, he also has a submission. He protects that woman. There is a telepathic connection between them, so he always hears when she calls him. By the way, in this place, all people can fly. They can all create wings and hide them as if they don't have them. I keep asking if there is anything personal that connects them apart from their missions. And then I see, or rather feel, tender, sincere feelings between them. This is love. That love is different from the love known on earth. This love doesn't own, does not jealous, does not miss, does not ask for attention. Each one of this couple is a full-fledged person who is happy with herself. Each of them loves what she does. At the same time, they experience the most tender feelings for each other. They are next to each other mostly telepathically or energetically. I'd like to mention that the person in question is not present in my life at the moment, but we continue from time to time to communicate telepathically. I'll talk about this in another blog. So I again rush through the space until I arrive at the next life. Plot number 5, life number 5. New frames, different from the previous ones, appear. I see an embryo in the womb. The embryo has a bright aura that shines all over. It is white and shimmers like a crystal. The child is peaceful and calm, but as soon as she is born, her aura fades away. The aura is no longer as bright as it was before the baby was born. In fact, her aura is off. The born child no longer remembers anything. She becomes an ordinary person. In the conclusion, this journey is unique to each of us. For everyone, this process occurs differently and/or is perceived differently. Here I share my experience and my perception, which is only my subjective story. If you like the video, share it and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one. Bye bye.